The Mario franchise has seen many strange incarnations. Well, actually, when you think about it, the premise for Mario in general is pretty strange. Whether it be golfing, kart driving, shooting water, or planet hopping, you can assume that while the games may be good, the premises will always be strange, albeit unique. And the Paper Mario genre is no exception. With the first Paper Mario being released for the N64 in 2001, this game took the Super Mario RPG battle system and added an interesting concept of Mario and friends being two-dimensional characters in a three-dimensional world. This title was so successful that in 2004, Nintendo released a sequel for the GameCube. This game was Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. So, after all these years, does this game still hold up? Well, let's take a look and find out. This game starts off similarly to Wind Waker by telling you the story of a city. This city was initially very prosperous and overall a nice place to live. However, one day, tragedy befell this town, and almost instantly, the city found itself flooded and buried underwater. As time went on, people rebuilt on top of the ruins and formed the new city of Rogueport. As the years went by, rumors of a treasure from the old city swirled, and this is where our story begins. Princess Peach is taking a vacation from her princess duties, and by duties I mean getting kidnapped, and is in the city of Rogueport. While there, she stumbles upon a merchant who tries to sell her a magical box. This box supposedly can only open for the pure of heart, so she tries it out herself. Upon actually opening it, she finds a treasure map and sends it to Mario. Mario and Luigi then set out to Rogueport to meet up with the princess. However, upon arriving, she is nowhere to be found. Shocking. He then teams up with a friendly Goomba named Goombella, who then takes you to her professor to read the map. As it turns out, this is a magical map that leads to 7 crystal stars. Once one star is found, another marker magically appears on the map, telling you where to find the next one. These stars are the keys to opening up, you guessed it, the Thousand-Year Door, and finding the treasure. Jumping ahead a little bit, we find out that Princess Peach has in fact been kidnapped by a mysterious group named the X-Nauts. The X-Nauts are also interested in finding the stars and opening up the fabled door. They had hoped that Peach had the map on her, but since she mailed it to Mario, they're out of luck, so they detain her anyway. Cut to the third member of this madness, Bowser. Bowser receives word that the princess had been kidnapped and is horrified that anyone would try to kidnap her. Aside from him. So, he hops in his clown copter and sets off to find out who would do such a thing. On the way, he also hears about these crystal stars and proceeds to throw his hat in the ring to try to find them. So, with Mario, the X-Nauts, and Bowser all chasing the stars, it's up to Mario to win this rat race and obtain his prize, along with rescuing the princess. Again. But Mario isn't going alone. As already mentioned, he meets a new friend named Goombella to aid him, but he also gains many new recruits along the way. From a fairly shy but friendly Koopa, to a ghost lady with huge, tits, to a Yoshi that you name yourself, who I gave the very original name of Yoshi, and even a Bob-omb. All of these members can be used in combat, but they can also be helpful outside of combat by doing things such as grabbing out of reach items or revealing secret areas. Speaking of combat, let's talk about that aspect of the game. Considering this game is an RPG, the combat is turn-based and can be initiated if you bump into an enemy or if you or they strike first. The combat is your standard turn-based system. You can attack, use special attacks, use items, swap out your partner, and use your partner's attacks. As you fight, you will notice 3 meters above you. These are your HP, FP, and star power meters. Now, if you don't know what HP is, then you may turn in your gamer card right now. FP stands for Flowerpower. Flowerpower is used for power attacks and degrades for every power attack you use. Star Power is used for special attacks, and each attack degrades a certain amount of star points. Every time you obtain another crystal star, you will gain another special attack. These attacks vary from a quick time event that causes an earthquake causing massive damage, to an attack in which you draw circles around your enemies, to even a minigame in which you throw stars at hearts and flowers to raise your HP and FP. Another aspect that affects combat is the badge points. As you progress through the game, you will stumble across badges, which can be found by killing enemies, opening up chests, or being bought by using star shards. These badges all cost a certain amount of badge points to use, and can be applied to either you or your teammates. These badges allow you to use power attacks, such as the ability to jump on multiple enemies in one attack, to using more powerful attacks, and so much more. But as you progress through the game, the enemies get harder, so you may be wondering how you level up. Well, as you kill enemies, you obtain star points. As you get higher in level, you will gain fewer points from easier enemies, and more points from harder enemies. For every 100 points you obtain, you will gain another level. It is then that you can choose to raise your HP, FP, or BP for that level. Probably one of the most interesting aspects of the combat is that, like Super Mario Bros. 3, it all takes place on a stage. Don't believe me? Go play the game again. Taking this factor into consideration, there actually is quite a bit of audience participation. The crowd can throw items at you, which will either hurt you or help you, but they can also help you obtain star power. As you pull off attacks, if you manage to press the A button at the right moment, you will do a stylish move. Pulling off stylish moves, blocking or parrying moves, and appealing to the audience all help you obtain star power, thus giving you a clear advantage in some fights. One final aspect to talk about before the reviewing are the curses. During your adventure, you will stumble across chests with demons, or spirits, whatever, that will curse you. However, these curses are not as bad as you may think. These curses allow you to roll up in a tube to reach small areas, turn into a paper plane to glide, turn into a paper boat, and even turn sideways to gain access to hard-to-reach places. Now for the reviewing. The graphics in this game are brilliant. This game truly takes the concept of the characters being two-dimensional in a three-dimensional world to the extreme. But even aside from the unique premise, the graphics have a very cheerful and colorful look to them, and many of the environments have their own distinct feel and are very well detailed. As for the gameplay, this aspect is also fairly smooth. Navigating areas is not a big problem, and the combat, even though it is turn-based, is left largely in your hands and requires quite a bit of strategy. Even the story is very compelling, and this is one of the few games that gives characters like Bowser and Peach a very rounded personality. You have no idea how happy this makes me. Although there are many redeeming factors to this game, I do have one problem. Mind you, this is a problem I have with many RPGs, but this problem just happened to stand out for me in this game. There are times while playing where you have to take part in missions that are clearly just thrown in to extend the game time. Mind you, I spent over 30 hours on this game, and I barely did any of the optional missions or minigames. But even the missions that you need to do to progress are sometimes just frivolous and at times frustrating. But one small grievance isn't enough to break a game, and even if you do find this aspect as annoying as I do, there still is much to be enjoyed here. So, if you're interested in a fairly interesting Mario RPG, then pick up Super Mario RPG. And then check out Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. If you're interested, you can find this game around $15 nowadays. So, until next time, this has been E-Dog. Beating games, whether it takes me 30 hours or 1,000 years. See you next time.